Oh my goodness, I was completely shocked when I discovered an earth-shattering truth. My amazing adoptive parents might actually be Sarah's biological parents. The clues were right there, like the bracelet that was now Sarah's necklace, and her diamond-shaped birthmark, all exactly like those of my adoptive parents' lost child. This surely couldn't be just a coincidence. Back at the orphanage, Sarah and I often talked about our biological families coming back for us, but I just thought it was childish naivete. I never believed it could actually come true. I kept this secret for a few days to digest all the information. This was a huge turning point in all our lives. The image of Mom, looking sad, sitting on the balcony, flipping through the keepsake box of their lost child, kept haunting me. Mom had missed so many years of her daughters growing up, so if Sarah really was Mom's lost daughter, I didn't want to be the one to keep them apart any longer. The next day after school, I invited Sarah over to our house. I had everyone sit down and told them my hypothesis. I made Sarah show them the bracelet that was now a necklace and the diamond-shaped birthmark on her right arm. This shocked both my adoptive parents and Sarah, but it also explained so much. Looking at Sarah standing next to Mom and Dad, I realized how much she resembled my adoptive mom. They did a DNA test, and those were a few tense days while we waited for the results. When the results came back positive, my parents burst into tears and kept hugging both Sarah and me. But not long after that, I realized I hadn't thought things through. Why would my adoptive family need me when their biological child had returned? Would they soon get tired of me and send me away? Or would they trade me for Sarah's adoptive family and I'd be stuck in that poorhouse looking after their little kid? My parents, meanwhile, wouldn't stop talking about Sarah. They kept asking how she was, this and that. They never asked how my day was anymore. Instead, they wanted me to tell them absolutely everything about Sarah. They invited Sarah over to play all the time. She seemed to always be in our living room, watching documentaries with Dad, or in the kitchen helping Mom cook. One time, I came home late and found Sarah sleeping in my bed. This really annoyed me because she didn't live here. This was my adoptive family. She already had her own family, so I reverted to secretly hating Sarah again, just like when we were in the orphanage. On the surface, I was still super nice to her, but behind her back, I would do petty things to mess up her day and make myself feel better. One time, I threw her homework in the trash. Another time, I hid her jacket so she'd have to walk in the rain with just a thin shirt, and I even stuck chewed gum in her pencil case. I knew what I was doing was mean, but I was so afraid of losing my new family to perfect Sarah. I just wanted them to love me. But I always felt like I was the second choice. One time after school, I was playing basketball with some boys at school. Then I saw Mom and Dad picking Sarah up at the school gate. They looked so happy, walking and laughing together. Why were they picking her up and not me? I was the one who lived with them. Why were they intentionally pushing me away? I remembered being at the orphanage and how Sarah's adoptive parents chose her over me. Why was it always her and never me? What did I do wrong? I felt unloved, but most of all, angry. I couldn't face the sight of them playing a happy family, so I went to a friend's house to stay. The more I thought about it, the less I wanted to go home. I told myself it was no big deal because I'd been like a stray cat since birth, so I'd be fine on my own. I knew I couldn't stay at my friend's house forever, so my plan was to sneak home in the middle of the night to grab a few things before leaving this town for good. That night, when I reached the fence and was about to climb over, I noticed the light on the balcony was still on. Mom was sitting there with a glass of wine and crying. Then Dad came to comfort her and said, "She'll be back soon," and gently led Mom inside. That scene was heartbreaking, and I felt so foolish for all my selfish thoughts. They must have been so sad, because the worst thing that ever happened to them was losing a child, and now my disappearance was making them relive that nightmare. They even adopted an older child to prevent this from happening, and yet I left like a spoiled brat. I swallowed my pride and walked inside, where I saw the living room decorated and a fallen banner that read, "Thank you, Mia." Mom and Dad heard my footsteps and came downstairs, and as soon as they saw me, they both ran and hugged me tightly. Then they burst into tears. It turned out they picked Sarah up from school that day only because they were preparing a surprise party for me, to thank me for helping them reunite. But I hadn't come home. They had been terrified that they had lost another child, and they didn't think they could endure that pain again. I cried and told them all my worries and thoughts about being abandoned once more, because Sarah had been chosen over me before. They said, "Sweetie, both of you are our children. If anything has changed, it's that we love you even more now, because you are the angel who helped this family reunite." So they weren't trading me for Sarah's family after all. What's more, now Sarah and I are both about to go to college. Sarah has 2 loving families, and we've become the best of friends. In fact, I don't just see her as a friend. She's also my sister, even though we're still arguing about who's older. She's 3 months older than me, but I'm taller and more assertive, so I insist I'm the older sister. I had to wait a long time to find my perfect family, but it turns out the wait was absolutely worth it.